All right, y'all. It's your boy back again with another video, and I just want to talk about a little bit of Houston's game yesterday against the Pels. Look, if anybody follows me on Twitter, I said in the beginning of that quarter that they were going to lose that lead and lose the game eventually. And there were some things that caught my eye. It's like, yeah, they can't keep up with them. They were able to hold their own in the beginning because they were able to match their energy and their effort in the beginning parts of the game, which is usually the case for a lot of teams, especially teams that aren't playing like double, triple overtimes or overtimes in general. They typically can hold their own within that first quarter, maybe first quarter and a half, going on to the first half, somewhere in that range, and then it usually. But it was a mixture of that, but the Pelicans seemed like they were expending a lot of energy just to barely keep up with Washington. And they got fortunate that they were knocking down shots early. As the game went on, their legs went away. They just couldn't knock down shots. And so, they were settling for threes that they couldn't hit, but they were hitting them the previous night. Having said all that, look, their backcourt is bigger in terms of, they're not bigger than Lonzo, but they are bigger than Bledsoe. So it don't matter if it's Wall, who's a good defensive point guard too, or Oladipo. He's just not going to overcome that. And then even with Lonzo, 6'4" versus 6'6", that's 2 inches. That's not a whole lot of range of distance to deal with. So, and then that link too, I didn't expect him to bother Lonzo too much, but I did expect him to kind of feel it. And so there's that point of it. But that effort from some of those guys that they had who were, there were Pels there and they were in position to get rebounds and they just got out-efforted. And ultimately, it led to their downfall. Now, part of that could be the lack of energy and they're being lethargic because of that, because of their game, back-to-back, first back-to-back of the season. I put it like this. Zion came out to make a statement in the third quarter, and he was getting them back in the game. But the second unit couldn't contain him, as per the usual. And they were just way too athletic. And I know you're thinking athletic, and you got Zion on this team, and Hayes and some of these other guys. Yeah, Wall is fast. Oladipo is quick and shifty, which is better than our backcourt as far as I'm concerned. And then you got Christian Woods who can jump. You got a couple other guys out there who can, muscle their way around. Plus, those are veterans. Most of this team is kids, so they know the little nicks and cracks and crannies to get through and make plays. The younger teams don't have that yet. So you couple all that in with the energy waning, and I kind of had a feeling they were going to lose that game. Houston is a phenomenal three-point shooting team. Silas likes to play 5 out. Even Boogie off the bench is contributing, can knock down shots, and he's physical, so they can always go to him. It was in the realm of what I thought would happen. Lonzo shot 3 of 8. He didn't take too many shots. He only took 8 shots for the game. But, man, was he a defensive presence. He was getting his hands on balls. He was deflecting stuff. He was blocking shots. He was playing excellent defense. The one thing about Lonzo, and I got to give the guy credit, even if the shot isn't falling, the man is going to show up on defense. And there were plays where he would make a steal and get the ball to someone else and they just couldn't finish. He got one in transition to Nico Melli, and I don't know what the hell Nico was trying to do at the rim. I guess he was trying to be fancy, but he fucked it up. you know, and I think after that play, Stan was like, all right, enough of this nigga. We getting Zion in this game. Because I see, he was like, yo, come here. Come on. Yep, we need you. Yep, come get this bum. Come get him. He's a bum. Hurry up right now. That was kind of what happened. And, I mean, hey, you know, that's the story of the Pels, man. They're going to have some games where they actually shoot the ball like they did in Milwaukee. And then they're going to have others where not. You know, again, some of the announcers, some of the people on Twitter even called it out. Like that left part, that little left crust of the floor right there by the free throw line. Lonzo's been money mid-range there. They really need to run more offense to get him to that spot. Or he needs to ingrain it in himself that he needs to start taking that shot a lot more. Look, Lonzo's taking more threes he's ever taken in his career. He's like making right at or above his most threes he's ever taken in his career. Not by much though. Not an increase to where I like it. I want him to come down off of 7 threes a game. I know that's a big part of what he is and what he does, but again, I really don't think he should be taking more than like 5, maybe 6 a game. That's me. Of course, the games when he's on, you know, fire away, you know, but I really don't like him taking that many threes, you know, personally. Again, Zion was Zion. Zion was terrific. B.I., you could tell the game the other night affected him because he was, 5 of 15 shooting? I can't remember how many points he had, but he just didn't have it, you know. And even though he could kind of get to his spots, he was struggling a lot to get to some of his spots. And even when he got to the spots, it was just, I just didn't sense that from him, that attack dog. JJ didn't play this game again. And I just saw a story talking about there's some teams in the Northeast that are trying to get their hands on him. So that could be something to look out for. I also saw CBS just broke a story talking about 5 teams Lonzo can and should go to include Charlotte, Golden State, Phoenix, and Chicago. So, and Toronto. I don't think that story came out for any reason and everything. So we'll see. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. I expect to see Lonzo shoot better next game. You know, that was game 15 for Lonzo. The Pels are 8-11, so that's game 19 total, I think. If my math ain't incorrect. Let's see. No. Because they're 7-11, so that's game 18. Yeah. So that's game 15. That was off a back-to-back. He didn't get to take too many shots, but he played exceptional defense. So, you know, like I said, 15 to 20 games. I ain't worried about, you know, the shooting for that game. His shooting has been turning around recently, so I think he's starting to get into his rhythm. And, you know, to that point, Lonzo just may be a slow starter. He may be one of those guys that has to get into the rhythm of the season. So the first couple games, the first part of the season, he's warm-up practice for him, but then true Lonzo comes out later. And I've seen some players like that. We've all seen players like that. It's like, you know, they start off slumpish in the beginning of the season, and then as the season goes on, they progress pretty rapidly. Jackson Hayes, he makes some low IQ plays, but then he has some plays where you're just like, wow. Like, he caught that one reverse alley-oop, and you was just like, you know. But when it comes, like, I don't know what it is, man. The dude, I don't know, maybe his hands are small or something, but the ball just seems, every freaking game recently, someone throws a pass to him, and it just seems to go right through him. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? You know, you can't catch the freaking ball? And, you know, like I said, I thought Jackson Hayes was probably going to need a couple games to, you know, get in the rhythm, but let me be blunt. I was trying to say it in a nice way, but let me say it. Jackson Hayes plays like a pussy. No offense to Jackson Hayes. You know, I don't think you're a pussy, bruh, but on the court, you soft. You Charmin ultra soft, bro. Like I see him out there, he be looking like when I watch him play, he look like he moaning because he getting penetrated. No offense, no disrespect to anybody out there, but he's just getting thrown around the court. He's like, ah. I'd be like, bro, what are you doing? You an NBA center? Why are you so weak? Why you? I get some of these guys are strong, but he's just falling all over the place, flailing. Like, bro, you need to get your nuts up. That's what I be thinking. But he's got some talent there. I'd like to see him taking some jump shots like in that mid-range. If anything, that's what Fred Vincent and them should be working on him with. If he could take some mid-range jump shots, Jackson Hayes would be a monster. And I mean it, a monster. The sooner he starts taking that, the sooner he can start working on getting them 3 balls up there. Because that's the same thing Miles Turner did. Miles Turner just started taking mid-ranges and worked his way back and got his 3-ball up. Jackson Hayes should be doing the same thing. He should be taking those mid-range jump shots when he gets them and going from there. Scheme-wise, let me talk about something that's bothered me. I see what Stan is doing on offense, right? You get the ball to Steven Adams in the mid-high post, and then they come off of a pin down or screen, really a pin down to get the ball. Sometimes the defense is jumping on that, and though Steven Adams is like, okay, well, now I need to go figure out what the next one is. They're coming down, and they're jumping off on the other side, and it's like Steven Adams is sitting there, and minutes are ticking off the clock. And then sometimes he has to try to make a play himself. I don't like that. We need to find another way to get some of these guys open. I would prefer putting a shooter on one side, and if you're going to set a pin down, maybe set another one, kind of like motion strong, or you can even run motion weak for all I'm concerned. But I need to see something to bail out Steven Adams, because teams are starting to jump these guys on their pin downs. They're starting to go around the screen. They know it's coming, or the pin down, and they're starting to try to jump it to cut off the path of the ball, and then they can't get it. It's literally taking time off the clock. That has bothered me. I've caught this a couple games ago, but it's really starting to irritate me because it happened a couple times last night, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, they got to do something. If you're going to do that, I'm starting to get to the point where I think Zion at the 5 is a legit thing that they need to go to, and they need to play him in that position instead of Steven Adams. Because at the very least, if Zion can't get the handoff, Zion has enough mobility and offensive game to where he's a threat and he can go one-on-one with his guy. I need to see more of that. I got to give Zion credit, by the way. Zion has been setting a lot better picks. He's been getting separation for some of these guys. I got to give him credit. That was something he wasn't doing a lot of well last year. I like the fact he's also taking more threes recently. Not a lot, but he's taking about an extra 3 a game, which he wouldn't have taken any at first. So the fact that he's actually sitting there taking a 3, I like it. Especially if he can start knocking them down with regularity. Now you don't need to have a stretch 5, and you got Zion that can go out there and knock down 35% from 3. And the teams have to defend him and respect him. That gives more space for Alonzo, Josh Hart, who shouldn't be ball handling. That's another thing I'm going to get into. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo, no. Any of the other ball handlers. And I know they're putting a lot of pressure on them to play Kira. Kira's going to start getting minutes. And they've been putting a lot of pressure on Stan in the front office. They're like, Kira needs to play. Why we haven't seen Kira? Yada, yada, yada. He finna see that floor. Somebody about to lose minutes. And JJ done already lost minutes. Be aware that he may be traded. We heard Bledsoe, and we heard Lonzo, and now we got this Lonzo article coming out. Kira about to start getting some serious minutes soon. Somebody about to lose their playing spot or their time. Having said all of that, look, they just straight up there and lost that game, and it's okay. That's one of those things where I call it schedule loss. When you're playing a team who can shoot threes and they got weapons all over the court, and they got guys who can switch multiple positions and play physical and play with a lot of effort, and you're coming off a back-to-back, that's a very hard game to win, even at home. Especially when you don't play your bench as much as you should. If I have to critique Stan, it's some of the scheme from last night on offense. And I noticed they were hedging on defense, especially on Oladipo. I thought that was good, but I didn't like the recovery after that. I haven't listened to Stan's post game. I'm gonna go listen after this and see if he mentioned anything about that. But that was something that caught my eye. But again, my critique of Stan this game was not going to his bench. You know, you didn't play JJ, and maybe that's because you guys are working on a trade. Maybe some of these guys are coming off a COVID protocol, and you already have it. You just can't do it yet, so you don't want to risk the injury. If so, I get that. Makes perfect sense. In that case, we need to be hearing something within the next week about JJ being traded. But if not, and I don't see why you don't go to JJ more. I don't see why you don't go to Hayes more, because Adams played 38 minutes the other night. You know, Hayes should be getting a lot of burn. So should Melly. And, you know, even with your guards, man, last night, I would have been perfectly fine if they didn't play Lonzo, you know, that many minutes. Like, if they would have only played Lonzo, say, 20 minutes, Bledsoe 20 minutes, and stuff like that, B.I. like 20 minutes, I would have been okay with that, because you got to use your bench guys and preserve your big dogs. I don't like that he didn't use some of his bench. You might be like, well, his bench is garbage. Well, here's the thing. Bench may be trash, but they would have had a lot more energy. You know, I've been wanting to see Wayne Gabriel. Still ain't seen him. You know, they play him, you know, with Sindarius Thornwell and Kira, like, when the game don't matter. And I got to say, Kira looked nice. Kira looks nice. That burst of speed is impressive. I think he's still undersized. He's, you know, he's undersized and he's light. I think he's 165. He's not going to move anybody, right? But his ability to get past guys and bend the defense is something you gotta take a look at on any kind of team. That kind of athletic speed, you know, is fantastic. And I believe there was a play Lonzo stole the ball, and he got the ball to Kira, and Kira took off and got to the basket. That's great, you know, and I noticed at the end of the game when they were actually putting Kira in, they had Lonzo at, like, small forward, and they had B.I. at, like, power forward, and I think Zion at center, and they had Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the game, too. He was playing shooting guard. You know, they had a 3-guard lineup. They let Kira bring the ball up as the point guard. I thought that was interesting, but at the same time, I get it, because they want to kind of run him as the point guard and get him that experience, so I get it. But I like what I was seeing at Kira. Attacking the ball, attacking the basket, getting the ball to the open guy, amazing speed. You know, he showed some things that are very nice. I can see why you would want to take him at number 13. But here's the problem. What's the point of taking Kira at number 13 when you can't find minutes for him? You know, what we really needed was forwards and wings. I'm telling you right now, if they got someone who could space the floor and, you know, as a power forward or 3, it was like 6'8" to 6'10" or something like that, 6'7", they would be getting tons of minutes right now. And that pick would have went a lot further than Kira. Kira being the 13th pick and he's not playing, it's kind of like, what's the point? You know? So now you got to move players and pieces around. Nard's getting his minutes now. He secured a spot in the rotation. The next question, though, is, again, if JJ's not here, you can say, okay, JJ's minutes will go to Kira. But, well, that was at first. But JJ's not been playing the past 2 games. So, what happens now? You're going to have to move Bled or Lonzo. You're going to have to. Because then, that means Nall has to start, probably. And this is assuming you also get rid of JJ. Nall has to start, or he's going to be 6-man. Or Josh Hart's going to start. He's going to be 6th man. And then you got to get Kira be the backup point guard or whatnot. I'm just saying. It's, you know, again, let's see. Let me make sure I hit everybody. Lonzo. Josh Hart was in. Why is Josh Hart trying to guard the best forward/point slash shooting guard every time. I don't get that. That's Lonzo's job. I don't like him guarding. Like, he should be guarding the second best guy. You know, I don't like him. I really don't like him playing small forward, and I don't like him guarding those wings. I really don't. But, you know, this again goes back to how bad this freaking roster is. Bleacher Report, post this man's stats. It don't matter how good or how bad he did. We're going to be consistent. Post that man motherfucking stats. Did I touch everybody here? Adams, they went to Adams early for good reason. He had size. He was giving them hell. But Adams played 38 minutes the previous night. He really didn't have it. Melly played like a bum. No, it was okay. He was still being goofy on the court, but no, it was okay. I didn't think anybody really stood out other than pretty much Zion and Zoe's defense. Again, I think his shot selection on offense could be much improved, but that's just me. Again, most of my critique for this game isn't on the Pels themselves in general, because they played a back-to-back against Milwaukee, who ended up pushing them and probably forced them to play their guys longer than they intended, which maybe you could critique Stan for just saying fuck it and not pulling his guys and just letting them, lose that game to Milwaukee. You know, maybe, I don't know. That's I don't know about that, but like I said, I'm not blaming too much of this on the guys. That was a hard-ass game to win the night before. And then after come and play Houston and these vets who are well-rested and ready for you and stuff, and that's hard. That's hard on any team, man. If you got to play Giannis one night and then you got to play Vic and Wall and Cousins the next night with Christian Wood, like, that's hard. That's hard for any team in the league. So, you know, again, I had some issues with the offense they were running. I may go into deeper detail and break that down in the coming days. But let me say this, man, because I talk about Vic, man. Man, yo, Vic be killing, dog. Like, I need, at some point in my life, like, Vic, to me, is the perfect player. I don't mean he's perfect, but what his skill set is, his build, he is perfect. As far as like a modern day shooting guard, he plays good defense. He's got ball handling skills. He can shoot. He can pass a little bit. His understanding for the game is up there. He's the perfect player to me, just by design. I really hope if Lonzo is not on the Pels, that there's a way Lonzo is next to Victor Oladipo. I've told you guys should know, I am a huge fan of Victor Oladipo. Him next to Lonzo would be basketball pornography. I am a huge Victor Oladipo fan. There's a lot of teams like Victor Oladipo, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this thought out here, and if I'm wrong, chop my head off. Victor Oladipo, depending on the team he goes to, is going to be a big deciding factor of who wins the title next year or the next couple years. Mark my words. Victor Oladipo on the Lakers, perfect. Victor on Clippers, perfect. Victor on... Shit, I can't put him on Brooklyn because they already got enough and they got Spencer Dinwiddie. Who else is competing? On the Warriors, perfect. Denver, perfect. Utah, perfect. Like, what team does he not fit? Orlando looks better, perfect. Boston, perfect. Philly, perfect. Look at all these teams. Just think about his skill set and what he does. And all the top teams somehow could use Victor Oladipo. Whatever team he goes to, he is going to shift the power balance. Believe me on that. There's just certain players, they have certain intangibles and they have certain things that are just useful to a team. That's where Alonzo is valuable too. All the stuff he does in one player is phenomenal. Vic is like that, except as far as offensive weaponry. He can do it all. You know, athletic, got all the shots that he needs to make. He's a brilliant shooter, plays defense. Bruh, wherever he goes, if he goes to a contender team or a contending team, they are going to be a problem. Anyway, matter of fact, if he went to Portland and like they got rid of McCollum, they're gonna be better. You know, I don't think it changes their outlook because they need a Draymond Green, and they need someone better than Nurkic because Nurkic can't stay his ass on the court. But he is going to shift the power in the league. And I know he's not Giannis, he's not Luka, he's not LeBron, but a player with that much ability in one frame, and he plays a sorely underpowered position. Shooting guard is not a strong position in the league. I'm just going to tell you, I don't care that you got Bradley Beal, James Harden, Klay Thompson, you know, yada, yada, yada. It's not deep. There's deep players at basically every position. We start talking about small forwards and point guards and centers. We can start naming tons of players. We start talking about shooting guard and power forward. Getting a legit shooting guard on your team in this day and age is a recipe for success. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all. Y'all have a good one. Peace.